Hi, welcome back to TeacherDad, where teaching and parenting collide. Today, we're going to continue our modern teacher journey together and dive into the foundation of classroom management by creating a solid vision of modern learning and what it looks like in the classroom. One of the constant struggles that I found over the past few years of teaching was getting students to buy into learning and taking ownership of that learning in the classroom. Not the content necessarily, but more ownership on their part. It was their responsibility to try and learn at the best of their ability. But how can I blame them? The first day they walk in, what do you hand them? A syllabus, right? A syllabus with acceptable behaviors, rules, expectations, and do a whole lot of talking at them and not a lot of talking with them. I never gave them the chance to have a voice in their learning. Therefore, it wasn't much of a buy-in, and there was really no incentive for them to even do it. So, when I started working a few months ago with Modern Teacher, I was instantly intrigued by the notion of creating a vision with my students. It was, however, intentional. It made us focus on what mattered most to each of us. Everyone had a voice, everyone had a choice in the construction of this vision for our classroom. It would set the tone for the rest of the marking period, and when anyone would ask, why do we have to do this? I wouldn't have to say a word. The rest of the class would just look at them, point up at the vision poster on the wall, and that was it. It was theirs, and that's what made it important and valuable. I have the unique opportunity here at school to cycle through a few classes every single marking period. This means I have been able to interact with 18 different classes this year so far. Yes, 18 different classes. I wanted to take the time in this video to share how I tweaked the process throughout the course of those 18 classes and what I've come to know and love about the vision of our room. So let's dive in. Let's see what we've got so far. Here's the general process of creating a vision in your classroom. You pose a question of why do we something? Okay, you have students answer, you have them vote on their top 1 or 2 responses, and then you phrase a new question around their top response. You repeat the process 5 times. These are the 5 whys. You ask the question why, and you hopefully at the very end come up with this really solid and in-depth mission. The first round was way back in September when I first began working with Modern Teacher intensively. I sort of stuck to the script and followed the 5 whys to make a mission statement as best as possible. This is where I posed the question, why do we come to school? Great question. However, the delivery and my follow-through was less to be desired. As you can imagine, if I didn't give them any preface or any context, the responses that I would get, and man did I get them, were, I don't know, I don't care, because I have to. These are just some of the answers that were all inspiring, okay? So I had to force them to sort of dig a little bit deeper. And then on the flip side of all this happening, I also tried to have them share out all at the same time, without any reflection, without any time for communication or collaboration. Yeah, and the last big failure I found was I tried to go the full 5 questions. Full 5 rounds, okay? They lost interest after the second round. I found that with middle school students, you can go 3 rounds, that's fine, and this allows us to go deep enough. However, it doesn't lose their interest completely and have them turned off and answering the question of, why in the world did I come to school today? So this is fast forward to now. This is the most recent. I really wanted my students to understand why it's important and why it's valuable to learn computer science, our course. So we did a version of the 5 whys, except we did the 3 whys. And our statement, it wasn't why did we go to school? The main topic ended up being changed to why do we learn computer science? So we focused it. We ended up getting some really solid answers and suggestions that allowed us to move through the process until we were able to come up with our classroom mission. That was, we learn computer science because, and they were phenomenal. They were great. They were so in-depth. They were talking about the world. They were talking about their community involvement, everything that I really wanted. It was a great exercise, and the classes were actually latched on from the beginning until the very end and fully engaged. Here are a few pieces of advice that I wanted to give you solely based off of my experience. You want to focus your question. As more teachers in our building and maybe in your building start moving towards this process and this framework, you can see how quickly it's going to become, why do you come to school? 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 All day long. Kids are going to instantly be turned off. However, you focus it, make it more specific, and then you're going to have a deeper, more enriching experience with them throughout the entire course. It's not so general. Organization is huge. Make sure that you encourage collaboration. Make sure that you allow students to even defend what their ideas are and take even more ownership in the process. Kids love stickers, doesn't matter their age. I love stickers. So they loved physically voting for each of their topics after one of their friends wrote their topic up. Okay, so I was sort of hands off in this whole process. So they physically attached the stickers to the board, they saw what was happening, they saw which topics were being selected, and they took ownership and they took pride in it. Put someone else in charge of making a visual poster for the classroom. Don't do it yourself. Don't just stick up the sticky note pad. Have them make it. Make it creative, make it unique, make a contest out of it, I don't know. And lastly, make sure you relax and have fun, because if you're not, your kids aren't going to. So in the next video, we're going to be using the classroom vision to dive into some expectations and classroom code that is going to be developed and that we're going to need to follow in our classroom to be successful in computer science. This is TeacherDad, and remember to never stop learning.